people say, well, what about the photos of Earth? NASA agrees that they're photoshopped, that there are no photographs. Go find anywhere where NASA says this is a photograph of Earth.
Welcome once again to the Launchpad Podcast. My name is J-Man, and this is a platform for free speech, free expression, free thought, and nobody better to have on the podcast to speak freely and speak of those expressions and those free thoughts. David Weiss, I would say last time he toned me down, but he is the voice and the face right now for Flat Earth Theory. And we are going to talk about NASA today because NASA and Flat Earth are very closely intertwined. Basically, NASA is a lie. Is that what you're saying, Dave?
1,000%.
1,000%. Okay.
Yeah.
And so now I have my doubts when it comes to the lunar landing, right?
Yeah.
Like
you have doubts? You have doubts?
Why are you killing me here?
Let me ask you a question. You ever do you live near your airport? Whenever you fly, do you live close, within decent distance? Do you ever fly when you're approaching the airport over your home and see your house?
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure.
What do you say to the stranger next to you?
Well, like there's my
place. There's my house, right? You don't even know that person, okay?
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. If you went to the moon, a desolate rock in the middle of nothing, isolated from all humanity, and you got there, at one point, would you say to your buddy with all the joking around and golf playing and dune buggy riding, hey, look at the Earth. Hey, look at that. Hey, look, there's America. Never once did they mention the Earth. Never once did they go, look at the Earth. You know what? The transcript should be of the conversation on the moon, and I'll keep it clean because I try not because people get offended. I love 4-letter words.
We're going to say the same thing here, but go ahead.
Yeah, the whole concept, the whole conversation would be, oh my effing God, look at the effing Earth, holy effing S, holy mother F. It was just that's the entire conversation for the entire time.
Right.
Holy, look, the USA, there it is. Holy moly, look at that storm. Oh my God, look how beautiful. Holy crap. And no, they're going, oh, look at this rock. Oh, this is a nice gray little rock, which turned out to be petrified wood. Okay. You know about that, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
And I agree. That's like one of the big things. If I thought of myself stepping on the moon, forget even the Earth. Let's say we're not even looking at Earth. I'd be a lot more excited about traveling that distance, basically to another planet and putting my feet down on an alien world. And they have like some scripted, this is one small step. I'd be swearing and going absolutely bananas as well. And then, yeah, sure, take a look at the Earth and maybe at least one reference.
Never once did they mention the Earth.
Okay.
Never once. And then they're jumping all around like this. Why wouldn't they're 1/6 the gravity? No, they'd be moving fast. They wouldn't be moving slow. Okay. They're hanging from balloons in this shot here. They're hanging from wires and they're bouncing up and down. They literally have like a 15-foot wide balloon taking 90% of their weight off.
Okay, similar. Now, here's a question for you, Dave.
Yeah.
Now, I believe very early on, there was another crew that was supposed to go to the moon, and they died in a capsule, like in one of the test capsules. Like,
are you talking about Gus Grissom, where they burned up on the launch pad? They were doing a test.
Yes.
And their story was with electrical fire, they had pure oxygen in there, and he burned up. But before that, Gus Grissom was outwardly spoken on how insanely bad all of the technology was. They couldn't communicate to the control tower from the launch pad. And he's like, how the heck are we going to communicate from the moon? Right. At that point, he believed he was going to the moon. And then he hung a lemon on the door of the capsule to send a message like, this is the lemon. This is, and I think he was, probably screaming that he's going to go public, and they killed him.
Right.
They killed him. And then there was another guy, I forget the name. He wrote a whole report about exposing NASA completely. And before it got released, his car got hit by a train that was owned by NASA.
All right. Could happen.
Could happen.
It's possible.
Could happen. Yes. Right. You know what's going on here?
What's going on here?
So the rocket went to the moon, and then the lander separated from the orbiter. 2 of the 3 went down to the moon, and one guy stayed on the whole time and went around the moon a couple times. Right?
Okay.
That's how it went. So he's up there alone, and he's doing paperwork. And why does the camera pan up? Who's filming this? There's no one on there with him. This is just a little trick in a zero-G plane to make you think that they're floating in space.
Right. Now, it's not possible that they have a camera there, like an automatic camera that would follow motion or anything of that nature.
In 1969. Okay.
Well, that's what kind of blows my mind altogether. Like, I remember the first time that we spoke and you showed me a picture of Hubble. And when you really take a look at the Hubble telescope, it does look like it's really frail. And the lunar lander, that looked even more frail than Hubble. And so it's amazing to think that something so small that looks like it's made out of tin foil and so frail could possibly make it all the way to the moon, land, jettison off again, connect, and then come back home. And with less computer power than what I have on my cell phone.
That's less computer power than you have in your watch, and not even your Apple Watch, your freaking Timex, calculator watch.
Come on, I'm trying to keep it.
So here on the app, if you go to the images section, let's just load it. I'm just loading a new version of the app, and if you go to the lunar lander right there, look at this thing. Now, think. Look at that. What's that made out of? Did Lockheed Grumman make that, or did the people over at Marshall's make it, or what Mitchell's or whatever, the arts and crafts store?
Right.
Okay, it's literally made from curtain rods and tin foil, and it's just horrible. Look at the structure, right? Look at these. These are jets. Those are jets right there. Okay, it's a little delayed. Sorry about that. This is absolute insanity. Would you put your kid in that and then submerge it in a pond?
That's a good point. I definitely wouldn't. Yeah.
Right. And think about air pressure. Yeah. Like if you ever have a bottle of water on an airplane, and then when you get to altitude and you opened it again and it was half full, it's pressurized just because of the tiny lowering of pressure at flying at altitude. Okay. And you've seen the tanker, the metal tanker train where they suck all the air out of it and the whole thing implodes. Right. So NASA has a vacuum chamber testing facility, and the walls on it are more than 10 feet thick, made with steel and concrete. So the thing doesn't implode when they try to suck all the air out of it, which they can't even do. They can't even get to the volume of vacuum that space is in this thing. And never once did they put an astronaut in that one. They put an astronaut in another one, and once in his suit, and before they can get half the air out, the liquid in his mouth started boiling. He passed out and he almost died. Wow. And they've never done it again. But use your mind, your God-given common sense. If you're wearing an airtight suit with pressure in here, we need this amount of pressure. What happens when you go into low pressure? It's going to expand and explode, right? We have, I should pull up that video. I don't have it. Where you put something in a vacuum chamber and it has air in it, it explodes. They put a soda can in there, it explodes. They put a Stretch Armstrong in there, he exploded, right? He would look like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, but no, they're just moving around in their snowboarding suits, going, this is fun, playing golf, dune buggies, doing rolls, skidding around. Absolute and total nonsense. Absolute and total nonsense.
So there's also the argument of the different light sources on the moon. Like you'll see shadows going in different directions where the only light should have been coming from the sun.
Yeah, and people argue that, it's because the hill, and the hill changes the shadow, and you can't even go there because everything about the moon is so fake. I'm not going to argue about the shadows. For example, when we look at the moon on a full moon night in the middle of nowhere, you can read by it. It casts your shadow on the ground. Okay, it's bright enough so you can drive with your lights off. Right? You agree with that? A clear night, full moon.
Yeah, sure. I
Okay.
mean, you can see the road.
Do you know what the inverse square law of light is?
I do not.
Yeah, they didn't teach you that in school because you might think about it and go, well, space doesn't make any sense. Light, as it expands, is spreading out. So when it spreads out, what does that do to the light? Right? If I have a little light, square inch of light, and a bulb, that light, if I held a piece of paper right next to it, would be a certain brightness. If I move the paper away, what's going to happen? It's going to get dimmer and dimmer because the light is spreading out.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you blow up a balloon, if the balloon itself was the light, you blow it up to a foot wide, it's now a lot thinner than it was before that. You blow it up to 5 feet wide, it's really thin. You blow it up to a mile wide, could you even see the rubber, the light? The light spreads out, it doesn't intensify. Even lasers spread out. People don't realize that. When you shoot a laser, it spreads out over distance.
Right.
Okay. Well, the sun's not a laser. The moon's not a laser. So if you went, the inverse square law of light says every time you half the distance to a light, it gets 4 times brighter, or every time you double the distance, it gets 1/4. It gets 1/4 of the brightness. So if we went halfway to the moon, the light would be 4 lumens. And then if we cut that distance in half, 16, cut that in half, 64. If you kept doing that to the point where they took a photo of the moon, the famous photo of the moon about 100 miles away, the moon's brightness to them at that point would have to be 64 times brighter than we see the sun from Earth. It's incalculable. You can't even stare at the sun. If I said it was twice as bright, you'd be like, oh my God, I'm going to be pulverized. 64 times brighter for us to be able to see it. So what is that light? Today, day of this recording, where are you located? What state?
I'm in Canada.
You're in Canada.
Yeah. So I'm in Ottawa.
Yeah. So you'll be able to see the moon, pretty big moon, in the sky before the sun sets today.
Okay.
You go out, if it's clear day, look at the moon. You will see there is solid blue sky behind the moon. Behind the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Ask yourself, let's pretend you didn't know what the moon was, you've never heard of the moon, and you're looking at it, ask yourself how far away it is. Okay? Ask yourself how far away it is. And then when the sun goes down, if you have some scattered clouds, look at the clouds that are lit up. They're only the ones right next to the moon. Right? So throw a whole bunch of cotton balls all over your floor and hold a light bulb a couple inches above it. It's just going to light up the ones that's right near it. Now hold it 38,000 miles away, or the equivalent in the scale model that we made. It's going to light them all up.
Mm-hmm.
The moon should light up all the clouds, but it doesn't. It only lights up the ones that are right near where you see the moon. So what am I saying? That the moon is right above the clouds, right? That doesn't make any sense because airplanes fly that high. I don't think the moon is a physical object. I think it is, everyone sees it and the sun in a position relative to their own, like a reflection. If you and I, let's say the sun, or there's a light behind us, the sun's behind us, doesn't matter. And we're standing 15 feet apart and there's a giant mirror wall in front of us, giant mirror wall. Okay. And I get a third person and they've got a big Sharpie. And I say, walk up to the mirror and I say, right there, go a little left, right there, draw a circle. All right. You just circled where I see the sun. They're going to walk over to you and say, where do you see the sun? And they're going to draw a circle 15 feet from my circle.
Okay.
So I think the best way that I describe it is the sun and the moon act like reflections. And you know, the story I haven't told in a while is like a reflection. Well, wait a minute. I can get a tan. It's hot. How could it be a reflection? I was in Las Vegas at a conference. It was 3:30 in the afternoon. And the sun was setting, going down to like 45 degrees, and it was frying the right side of my face. I was eating some food, and it was just frying the right side of my face. And I said, maybe I should go to the other side of the pool, and so I get a little sun on the left, because I'm going to look like one of those Milano cookies, right? But my hotel was like 50, 100 yards over there, and it had very big mirrored windows, and the sun lined up with one of those mirrors, and it was shining on the left side of my face at one point. And I looked over, and it looked the same. Of course, it's a mirror, but I closed my eyes, and I felt the heat. Whoa, I'm on a wobble board, sorry. And I closed my eyes, and I felt the heat, and I said, if I didn't know which one was the real sun, could I tell the difference? And I couldn't.
Interesting.
Yeah. Interesting. Everything's interesting.
It is interesting. So David,
yes.
NASA.
Oh,
why the lie? When did it start? And why put so much time and effort into just having people believe you have it all ready to go? Okay, go for it, Dave.
No, finish the question.
Yeah,
question.
What do they hope to achieve with this lie?
So in 1959, 1950s, in there, they started exploring Antarctica. And I believe that, the levels of control in this world are beyond what we see. The people that we think are the leaders, they're being controlled by people above them. And I believe that those people, my belief is that they are beyond the shoreline of Antarctica. And that's kind of why many world leaders go down there on really weird times to maybe get their marching orders. So Admiral Byrd went out, and he said there's more land bigger than the United States filled with resources, fuel, gas, coal, oil, coal, uranium, and metals. And there's no people there, and there's no animals, and it's amazing. And they said, can't go there. Antarctic Treaty, 1,000 countries signed on. Every major country in the world has since signed on. Can't even question it until the year 21. No corporation, like ExxonMobil, why aren't they petitioning? Like, we should go there. You want cheaper prices? They can turn the world in, they could break that treaty anytime they wanted if they weren't all involved in this thing. We can deforest the Amazon, but don't go to Antarctica because we have to protect the pristine ice and the penguins.
The penguins,
okay?
Yeah.
And the penguins, the friggin' penguins. And by the way, that proves the Earth is flat also. I'll show you that in a moment. The penguins, remind me. So that happens, and they go, we're going to the moon. Everyone, don't look over there. Look over there, up there, that thing that you can never verify yourself, right? We're going to the moon. And you'll never be able to verify it. And in the 1960s and 70s, we went 6 friggin' times. 6 times, flawlessly, right? Couple, little drama, we lost the heating or whatever. And all of it, anyone who takes the time to look and actually use their common sense will see that none of it makes any sense. I mean, go look at and it's also the people that funded NASA, that founded NASA. You got a cultist, you got Nazis, and you got a Disney animator. Okay, look at these are the people that are running NASA. Absolute insanity. This is what do you think of this from the space station? Why don't we see any land down here?
Right. It's a cloudy day, David.
Okay, a cloudy day. But doesn't it look flat? Or does it look curved?
Oh boy, that's a tough one.
Well,
I mean, I guess I would you son of a gun.
Okay.
You're such a trickster.
That's how easy it is to fool somebody. It's that easy, right? Mm-hmm. And then this is the tank from the space shuttle falling back to Earth at free fall speed, like 20 or 40,000 pounds, empty. Does that look like it's falling, or does it look like it's floating? Watch this guy. He falls. Ready?
Right. The Red
That's
Bull dude.
Falling. But know what's even worse than this? This is like should be in the Macy's Day Parade. Okay. Know what's worse? The guy that's filming this is on the shuttle heading up at the same time as this is falling. He's
all right, so that should be getting smaller.
It should be gone in a split second.
Right.
He's traveling 17,000 miles an hour up. That's falling at free fall speed, but he filmed it for minutes.
Mm-hmm. And then there's
right?
also I believe there's a clip out there as well in regards to CGI to like kind of like the rockets flickering, like to where there is some type of launch for a satellite, and that these launches are also CGI and they're not real.
Some of them are CGI, some of them are balloons. On my app, the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, watch right here, a little piece of paper is going to float by. There's rockets are balloons situation. Ready? It's coming, and there it goes. Piece of paper.
Oh, wow.
That shows you how fast this thing's moving. It's floating. This is filled with helium.
Wow. And what's that supposed to be?
That's supposed to be the external tank on the space shuttle. Remember the space shuttle?
That's insane. And where's that footage from?
That's from NASA.
That is from NASA. That's pretty damning right there.
And so look, this is a bouncy house. This is nobody's on here. No one's ever on there. This is all a big show. Now, these people, if you Google space shuttle launch, you'll get this video. Okay. They'll feed you this. Look at these people. It makes them look like they're right there. They're not. They're like over 10 miles away. You ever look at something 10 miles away? All right.
Right.
You can't even see it. This thing is, and also it's like behind a row of trees, so they can't even see it. Maybe the very tip of it if they have good binoculars.
Right. So you're saying that, okay, I know that they're separated by a large body of water, but you're saying that they should not be able to see what they're able to see with their eyes.
Well, they're making it look like in this video that those people are right there.
Okay.
Therefore, there's witnesses. Therefore, space launches have to be real.
Right.
Yes, they're launching something, but this is 4 million pounds. Okay. Now, if you know anything about inertia, once you get 4 million pounds moving in one direction, does it change directions? No, it doesn't.
Right.
So watch a couple things here. The thrust coming out of this. As it goes up, that thrust is going to spread out. So people go, well, there's a channel right below it. So all the thrust is going through the channel. This fence, would you say this is hot? Yeah, it's hot. Okay.
Right.
This is hotter than a friggin' blowtorch, right? Okay. And it's coming out at over 17,000 miles an hour because it has to, because this thing goes to 25,000 miles an hour. So that thrust has to be faster than that. That's ridiculous speed. It can't even happen, but that's what has to happen. What would happen to this fence with a 17,000 miles an hour wind, superheated? Before I tell you that, room temperature wind, tornado, 300 miles an hour will tie it into knots and turn trees into toothpicks.
Interesting. So beyond the fact that it's just hot and you'd think it would just melt that structure, it should just blow the gates right off.
It should incinerate and atomize, if that's a thing, everything. And then this thing, I was like, why do they go so slow? Right? Yeah. It's because it's a balloon. This is a light show with a lot of smoke. The light show with a lot of smoke.
Okay. Now
did we look at this last time or no?
No.
Okay. So watch this. So what happens? It always rolls over on its back. They fly upside down and backwards. That's because this thing is heavier than the helium balloon tank. So when you see a smoke trail, they are launching something real. When you don't see a smoke trail, there's nothing being launched, right? There's many that don't have smoke trails. Now, it's always curving. They say, well, that's because it's getting up speed and it's going over the curvature of the Earth and it's going out to space. Now, this is 30 miles downstream, okay? 30 miles downstream or whatever. And then they release these solid rocket boosters, which they say once they're on, they can never turn them off, right? And they release it. It's going over 17,000 miles an hour. How's this thing going sideways at 17,000 miles an hour? Think about the aerodynamics of that. The SR-71 goes like 2,000 miles an hour, 3,000 miles an hour. And it can't go sideways like that. And the other thing is, if you Google this and watch it with sound, the second you see that, you hear they have that in the video.
Okay.
30 miles downwind, 30 miles times 5 seconds is 150 seconds. That's how long it would take the sound to get back to the camera.
But we're hearing it.
We're hearing it at the exact same second.
Right. Okay. So you're saying that's manufactured. That has to be manufactured.
This can't go sideways in the atmosphere. Okay.
Well, what happened with the Challenger then? Was that all just nonsense?
I'll answer that right after this slide. This thing goes Mach 3.2. Any faster, it rips to shreds. It has no paint on it, no logos, because it gets so friggin' hot that they burn off. It actually has space in the seams where gas actually leaks out until it gets up and it heats up and then it expands. It actually grows 6 inches. So they have it so it seals itself in when it's going. Okay. That's the official story. All right. No paint, pretty darn aerodynamic, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yep.
And it goes 2,193 miles per hour. This thing, it has PVC pipe running down the side of it, like a flat attachment. This hunk of junk goes 22,000 miles an hour, Mach 33.
Right. But it has all those booster thingies on it, though, Dave.
Doesn't matter. The aerodynamics, the heat, the speed. If you can't see that this is impossible, that this is fake, that we didn't go to the moon, you are lying to yourself, and that's not healthy.
Yeah.
Right. If you lie to yourself your whole life, you're going to die a very bad death. Okay.
Right.
You have to be truthful to yourself. If deep down inside, you know something is fake, your soul is telling you it's fake, but your conscious mind is like, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to have the ridicule of it.
Mhm.
I want to, I want to believe. You are killing yourself.
I have honestly, I'm going to be very transparent. I have never really thought so much about all these launches being fake. I know that there was footage of 1 or 2 where it seems to be flickering images. But when I see those numbers, like if those numbers are legitimate and this thing's traveling 22,000, and then when you look at this minuscule number of 2,000 for something that is
this
much
thing,
lighter and designed for speed.
Look at this thing. It's a beautiful thing. Now, when this thing comes in, do you know why they have 2 jet fighters escorting it in over every time? They used to have, you remember they'd have a jet? That's because this is a jet. There's engines on here, and they're using the jets so you can't tell the difference in the sound. This is an airplane.
Oh.
It's flying in.
So you're saying that's, again, another production. They have planes flying in
To
with
hide
it
the
for the
sound.
sound.
For the sound. And if you look at it there, you could see from the side, the back view, it's got jet exhaust vents.
Yeah, I can buy that. I mean, that's I've never heard this before.
But this isn't what you saw go up. What you saw go up is a balloon. This is an airplane that maybe they flew it on top of a 747 and they released it and it flies down, or maybe it just took off on its own from an Air Force base, and then it flies high and it comes in just when it's supposed to. It's all a show. It's all a show. On my app, the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, you hit the web button, go down to Rockets Are Balloons. Get ready to lose your entire childhood, everything. It's all going to go away if you watch those videos. It's all gone. It's all gone. But here's the thing. People have a hard time letting go. Their ego is like, well, if I look at that and I actually think about it, I have to admit that I've been lied to my whole life, and that everything I've thought of for the last 50 years is a lie, and people can't handle it.
Mm-hmm.
People just can't handle it. But let me tell you something. It's freeing. Once you understand what this place isn't, you start seeing what it is, and the rabbit hole is absolutely endless. So the Challenger crew, that was the first launch that they dragged television into every schoolroom. Every kid was watching it live because they had a teacher on it, Krista McCauley.
Right.
Okay. And basically it's called trauma-based mind control. It's called kicking the can down the road, right? When I was a kid, we're going to have hotels in space. We're going to have hotels on the moon. We're going to have tourism, right? They keep kicking it down. They just kicked back the moon mission again. My good buddy, co-host, researcher friend, Jaronism, he has a video called NASA Going Nowhere Since 1959. And he basically shows all of the presidents. We're going to the moon. No, we're going to Mars. Then we're going to the moon. No, we're going to Mars. And they just keep kicking the can down the road. And they keep kicking it. Oh, we had a delay. We have a budget. We have this. We have that. I mean, NASA gets $65 million every single day. That's what they tell us. They don't, because they're just this Hollywood studio. But what happened to the Challenger astronauts? Well, we found 6 of them that have identical twins that go by the same name, that all work for universities. They have the same mannerisms. We have one with Judy Resnick here. She's a Yale law professor, and Judy Resnick, the astronaut. both making speeches during their, when she was an astronaut, and same dimple, same hair, same teeth, same gestures, same voice, same everything, and people still deny it. Okay, they all have twins. Here's the killer, though. Here's the kicker. You have any brothers and sisters?
I do.
If one of them passed away, would you go to the funeral?
I would. Yeah.
Okay, if you had a twin brother.
Yeah, the twins are supposed to be like super tight.
None of them showed up at their sibling's funeral.
Right. Because that's that person, or was supposedly that person.
It's a hard one.
Yeah.
On my channel, DITRH, right here,
Mm-hmm.
there's a playlist called Challenger. Okay. And you can watch the videos showing the breakdown of all of this.
Okay.
But
and they did this and had everyone kind of like watch it to create trauma.
They love drama. They want kids being, and maybe they did it just to kick the can down the road,
Right.
to say, you know what? Look, we don't want that to happen again. Okay. You need another decade. Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It was basically to keep the space program going, make it last long, drag it out longer and longer and longer. Now you have, Elon Musk, not Elon Musk, you have Jeff Bezos and SpaceX doing their launches with civilians, right? What civilians do they have on there?
All right. William Shatner.
So,
Right. An actor. Canadian,
Yeah.
buddy.
Yeah. William Shatner, a broke actor who may have needed some money, is 91 years old, fat, out of shape, and they slingshot him into space for 4.5 minutes of weightlessness, where don't you think that would be filmed? They show 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. That's it at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So they may have had him in a zero-G plane. I don't even think that. I think they didn't even have him in a zero-G plane because he couldn't handle it. That's what's that called? Blue Origin. So I want to show you Shatner. Okay. So the rocket takes off. Incredible G-forces, stuff that might make you pass out. But William Shatner, he's fine, right? Okay. And he comes up, and then they come down for this landing. Now watch this. Is this real? Look, it's kind of going sideways. Then they'll change the shot. Oh, now it's going down. It's about to hit. What about all these bushes? Okay. Wait a minute. Oh, now there it is. Slam. Now watch it again.
Right. And way off in the distance, of course.
Slam. Watch the slam. I think I could show you again. Oh, here, I got to actually have a better one here. Watch the slam. Okay. So
if I had to just take a guess, like it looked like it's like there's kind of like a little bit of a weird delay, or
that's a pretty hard slam in the ground, right?
Right.
So let me ask you a question. At any sporting event, school fair, carnival, not very dangerous. What do you have to have there? What does the town make you have there? An ambulance.
Right. Just
somebody could get hurt. Okay. Right. So what did they have for William Shatner, the 91-year-old fat guy who was just launched into space? Okay. Slams into the desert where anything could go wrong. Okay. And who's there? Let me just jump forward. He comes out. Oh, you got there. You got Jeff Bezos, a couple of wives, no ambulances, no EMS workers, no nothing. Oh, is this Shatner coming out? Could barely walk, right? No one's checking on him.
Listen, this is Captain Kirk. Show some respect.
I'm sorry. I love Captain Kirk. Loved him. But
Right.
William Shatner is a famous quote of him being interviewed off the cuff somewhere. And they're like, science fiction and science. And he goes, oh, there's no difference. It's the same thing.
Right. That is, you know what? That is pretty interesting. You would think after you came back like that, being an older gentleman, that there would be some medical personnel just to check on him as precaution, especially after a harsh landing like that.
Are you kidding me? Absolutely. It's absolutely,
Right.
It's absolute insanity. Right. So here it is. And this thing is launching a giant penis into space. Right.
Yes,
They
it
love their
is.
phallic symbols. Now watch the edits. Watch edit. That's 3 edits, 4 edits. Okay. 5 edits. Right. What? No, wait. Where's the smoke? No smoke.
So the smoke's gone now.
Watch
Okay.
right here. Watch the top. I'll zoom in on it. Watch the top.
Yeah.
There's a edit. There's a glitch. Okay. This is and look, it's above the land. And hold on, do we go back? there's two edits where it's like at the wrong height. Okay. So watch the top. Is this the one that has the edits in it? Oh, here it is. I'm sorry, wrong video. Wrong video. Here we go. So here we go. I'll jump forward on the launch, but it's edit. It takes off, goes up. There's 4 edits. Now, where is it? 5 edits. Who's getting this shot?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a cool drone. Okay. And no smoke trail. Okay. So watch right here. Bam. What's that?
Yeah. Okay.
Not real. Not real. We caught NASA with these weird lights. We were zooming in on some pictures that I forget if we got them off of Google Earth or something. And we're like, what are these big spotlights for? And we zoomed in. We actually got like a serial number or the name of a company. And we looked it up, a holographic projection company that specializes in holographic projections. What is NASA doing with holographic projection lights?
Right.
Again. Oh, and what? And this thing, it's got the air brakes. Look, these are air brakes. These little things right here. These are air brakes. This is multi-tons coming down, and it's going to land upright. You ever see a Harrier jump jet on a windy day? Okay. Right. And it lands upright. Look at this. Who's filming that? Look at this. And you know why people think it's real? Because on one other test flight, it crashed and it exploded. They're like, well, why would they do that? For that very reason. Look, nonsense. Absolute. You've seen the landings on the drone ships, right? Go look up anyone. Go look up SpaceX Starlink launch. Watch the launch. Ridiculous. Edit. Then watch the one that separates. And then you have the one piece coming down. It's got 2 little milk crates that go like this. Whoop. And it steers it down. And it basically shows the Earth spinning underneath it. And it lands on a tiny little drone ship where nobody's on the ship, right? It lands bullseyes on this thing on a perfectly calm ocean, right? If you live near the ocean's never calm, very rarely, but it's always calm for these landings. But it lands perfectly. And the funny thing is, the camera on the ship always glitches out just before it lands. And then it comes back on and it's there.
Right.
It's the most retarded, I'm bringing that word back, thing ever. Okay?
Bringing that word back.
I'm bringing it back.
All right. So, Dave, I think I'd love to finish actually on this clip that you showed me last time we spoke. And that's where I kind of called it because I said we're getting into territory that I'd like to cover later on. And that would be footage of astronauts on the ship, like with things going in and out of their neck and just the blue screen working really poorly or the green screen on the space station, I believe.
The International Fake Station?
Yes.
All right.
That'll be a good one to finish on.
Let's go to the Chinese International Space Station. They built one also, and there's no video or photos of it being built. It's just up there, and these guys are on it. And they're doing all these experiments. And one of them is with a water. Look, there's a cup of water. Why is a cup of water sitting there?
It should be floating, right?
And the water should be all over the place,
right?
The water's level. And right. When they went to get the water, the laptop. We're trying to find the footage again. It disappeared. The laptop fell closed. The laptop was like this, and it fell. Why did it fall?
Right.
Why did it fall? So I think I have and then this is from the Chinese space station. They're showing the Earth. Wait, it's pretty flat. Well, wait a minute. Hold on. This is live from their space station. Wait a minute. It's a pair. Wait a minute. What's the Earth? What are we seeing here? This is live from their space station. Okay, no, it's a blob. Wait a minute. Hold on. I think it's going to be a globe. Just hang in there. Okay. And here we go. It's a globe.
Right.
It's a globe. There you go. It's a globe. That's from the Chinese space station. Here they are. Look, a glass of water right there.
Sitting there still. Right.
Sitting there still. They do different things. They use 0G planes. They do it in studios, hanging from wires. They have CGI, the water may not even be real. It could be CGI water. And because I've seen, in movies and stuff, they have globs of water floating around. That's all CGI, and you can manipulate it in augmented reality. You can manipulate it yourself.
Wow.
Okay. Yep.
And the American Fake Station, or what you called it? What about that one?
The International Fake Station.
Yeah.
Here we go. So we go here, and it says, here is what I got here. Oh, so the space station is showing the Dragon capsule. It's getting ready to depart. Look at the orientation to the Earth, and then they switch cameras, and now it's sideways to the Earth. And you try to put that together. Well, look at this black mark, this black thing, right? We can still see it here. There's no way that you can get the Earth oriented sideways. But this is them real time, switching back and forth between the two cameras. Right? How about this? Is there gravity in space? Watch this guy. Oops, he dropped something and he caught it. You ever do that? You ever drop something and catch it?
Right.
You don't have to do that in space, but for some reason he had to because he encountered a pocket of gravity.
Could happen. Or I'm not a scientist.
Pocket of gravity. All right. I'm not a scientist. Yeah, just give up your common sense and believe nonsense. So let me ask you a question. The doors that they have, which are like submarine doors, on a submarine, they have like a whole crew of people that fix seals constantly 24/7 all the time.
Right.
In space, where you have more reverse pressure than you have on a submarine, been up there for 20 years, no problem. All the seals work perfectly. Okay. So let me ask you a question. How does this door seal them off? Watch this door.
Well, obviously, it's like a super futuristic plastic. Dave, come on.
Very good. Very good. You know what? The NASA fanboys would back you up on that. Yeah. Okay. They'd back you up on that.
It's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah. And then we have this person on the space station. I believe if you watch this interview, I have it on my channel, DITRH. Check it out. It's called, I forget the name of it. It's one of my recent videos. I believe she thinks she's on the space station. I believe she's an MK Ultra mind controlled person. She's hanging from wires. They told her she's in space and to ignore the wires. And when she does her flip, her harness shows, and you'll just see this little black thing right there coming out of her pants. But if you're free floating in space, why is she pivoting at the hips?
Right. Okay? It looks like she's.
And what happens right here? Whoops. Right. And if you listen to her talk and the things that she said, she's under hypnosis. I used to hypnotize people in college. I learned how to do hypnosis. And I look at her eyes. She's under hypnosis.
Wow.
Okay.
MK Ultra. Yeah, that's something else we could.
Yeah.
There's so many topics.
Right.
Oh,
and
wow.
Here's the old, look at us. We're sideways. We're this way. We're that way, And meanwhile, right here is a bunch of fruit sitting on a table.
Right. Another example. That should be floating.
Right.
Wherever.
Right. And then you saw Don Pettit saying, I took some plastic and I taped it together. I put coffee in it so I could drink coffee out of a cup because it clings to the side of a cup. And he's telling this whole story. And then when he lets it float, the CGI gets out of sync with the cup. Right. The cup, I believe he's on a 0G plane. And then they CGI'd the coffee or the color, whatever. The NASA fanboy goes, that's not the coffee. It's the tape he used. Well, either way, this is fake.
Yeah.
Cosmic rays. You don't know how many cosmic rays are up there.
Right.
I mean, it is unbelievable.
And this is all under the guise of NASA.
This is all NASA. By the way, NASA, JAXA, Chinese, they're all in it together. There is no Cold War. There is no division. They're all in it together.
Right.
They're all in it together.
Well, Dave, some parting words. If people are looking to find you, they want to know more about the NASA lie that might lead them to flat Earth, etc. Where can they find your stuff? Everything is at flatearthdave.com. If you believe
if you Google flat Earth, you're not going to find anything. Okay. You're going to find just what they want you to find. It's just what they want you to see. FlatEarthDave.com. The app is there. All the links to all my channels, my interviews channels. This interview will be there. Your interview will be on the app also. There's so many resources there. And so anyone that's triggered, that's like, the Earth isn't flat. All you have to do is provide one proof and you get 3 Bitcoins. One proof. But before you do it, watch the daily video every day for 2 weeks. Check the frequently asked questions to make sure the silly question that you have isn't answered. There it is. And then you'll realize that you don't live on a spinning space ball flying through impossible Narnia space.
Right. Well, thank you once again, Dave, for joining me here on the Launchpad podcast. Another big shout out to my sponsors above and to you watching. If you enjoyed the program, make sure to find Dave at DIRTH and subscribe to his amazing YouTube channel. Of course, I'd love a subscribe to mine. You take care, be well, and love simply because you can.